type it in the chat box. So physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, esteem needs, self-actualization. Okay, yeah, correct. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes, Gopa Bandhu, yes, got it correct. So this is by Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What do you think is this from it? So when you just look at this one, so what do you think? Whose theory is it? Any idea? Oh, great. So learn English.
Yes, sir.
So it's Bloom's taxonomy. Yes, Bloom's taxonomy. And now my next question is, what is very important these days? Is it Maslow or Bloom? So can you put your answer in the chat box? So, okay. Dolphin Suna says both. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy. Niranjan Kamari, okay. Bloom. Tarani Sen Gupta says Bloom. Vinod Paul says Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so Dr. Albert says both are quite different. Okay, but as we are aware, so it's, Maslow before Bloom is more important these days. So that's what the education is these days have been talking about, social and emotional learning. So our students are not able to cope up with their stress, anxiety and other things. So it is said that you could see on this screen again, and these days a lot of pedagogical changes have been taking place, and people have started introducing social and emotional learning. And you could see what is social and emotional learning. So CEL, it's called, is an integral part of education and human development. And KSL, you could see on this website and then find out. So what exactly KSL talks about social and emotional learning. And it says, and this is the need of the hour, I believe, and our students need to know and could be incorporated to see that their pedagogy or their curriculum should have this particular cell or social and emotional learning. So social and emotional learning is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills and attitude to develop healthy identities. So it talks about 5 important skills, and on the left side you could see that social and emotional learning's 5 core competencies. So develop healthy identities, manage emotions and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others. And this is one of the other major area, empathy. So, even Dr. Albert has written a lot of articles on empathy, what it should be done. And even in Delhi, their happiness curriculum, empathy and all have been included. And establish and maintain supportive relationship and make responsible and caring decisions. And you could see on the left side, so social and emotional learning has got 5 core competencies like self-awareness, responsible decision making, self-management, social awareness, and relationship skills. So for the first important thing, as I said, is anxiety management skills. And my next important skill that we need to be aware is learning styles and preferences. And what does it mean? So learning about different styles and how to be able to adapt and accommodate differences. Again, so we need to be very careful about dealing this particular skill among our learners. Now I'm going to show you 3 pictures. Could you just use the chat box and then tell me, is there any difference that you could see on these 3 pictures? So by looking at these 3 pictures, what comes to your mind? Can I have your answers in the chat box? Football, okay. Oh, sports, okay. So Subransu says football, sports. Any other difference or anything that could differentiate or yeah. So please make use of the chat box. Or two, one, many. Okay, there's one boy. Equal opportunities. Okay, so Ram Prabhagar says okay, equal opportunities are given. Okay, boy and girl. Okay, Vinod Paul says boy and girl. One is showing playing in isolation and second is in group. Okay. Any other learning by doing? Okay. Einstein says learning by doing. Any other differences that you could see on their dress? Anything that you could see? Okay, different uniform, experiential learning. Okay, gender equality. The one is playing in isolation, is holding something in his hand. Okay. Peer learning, self-learning. Okay. Okay. Group learning. Okay. But I just wanted to look at these pictures. Look at their socks. What do you think by looking at their socks? What comes to your mind? Are they same in color? Have you ever seen players wearing different colors of socks? No. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to point out in the UK, there is a football soccer school, or it's called the Other Food Soccer School. You could see, as you could see here in the pictures, where the players have two different colors of socks. You could see one red in one foot and yellow on the other, one blue in and yellow on the other. So you could see that the socks are not the same in color. You know what the speciality of this particular, the Other Food Soccer School is about? Here, I mean, the players have been asked to come with different colors for a week. Once they come to the ground, the coach would tell them that the players have to use the leg having only yellow color socks. Yeah, I mean, they're not supposed to use the other foot. So they practice using the same food for a week. And for another week, the coach would say that they have to use the other food with a different color of socks. It has been proved that the students or the players who have been put, you could also surf their Facebook page, the Other Food Soccer School, and find out there is a lot of progress that the players could engage themselves and then become one of the best, become good football players, it seems. So here, the Other Food Soccer School has adapted a new learning style that it thought that it could create good football players. So as we know, see, every child learning styles are different and every child's learning preferences are different. So it's important that we have to play in our classrooms. And as we are aware, there are 7 learning styles. So there are learners who could learn visually. So visual or they're called as spatial learners. Oral people are learners who could learn by listening. Physical, as somebody was saying in the chat box, so learning by doing. So physical learners and verbal learners, as we are aware. So verbal learners learn verbally by reading or listening. So it's both written and spoken are important for them. And logical learners. Logical learners are those who use their brains for logical and mathematical reasoning. And social learners, as we are aware, so social interpersonal. And I put my daughter in a hostel for 11th standard this year. But she has been pestering us not to put her in the hostel because she says, I don't want to mingle with anyone in the hostel. My area of interest, or I want to study personally. I can study at home, but not with a group. And she is a solitary learner, I believe. So these are 7 important learning styles. So as teachers, we should be aware that every learner has got its own or her own learning preferences or learning styles. And we need to have our pedagogy according to these styles. And it was, we Vygotsky, a psychologist, talked about ZPD or zone of proximal development. So he said the zone of proximal development is the gap between what a student can do independently and what they can potentially do with the help of a more knowledgeable the other. So here the more knowledgeable other is nothing but the teachers in the classrooms. So this is again an important thing. The third important skill that I would draw your attention to is effective listening skills. As we know, as language teachers, so LSRW plays a vital role. Here, I'm not going to talk about literally about how listening skills could be taught in the classroom. I'm going to quote, I'm sure you must be aware of this famous book by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So in the 5th chapter, he talks about, there are 7 important chapters, and the 5th chapter is, he talks about seek first to understand, then to be understood. And in the book, where I was reading and I could see that there is a listening staircase. And he talks about the 5 types of listening. And the first 4, as you could see on the screen, are called, the first one he calls it as ignoring, second one pretend listening, third one selective listening, fourth one attentive listening. And I don't have to deal and then explain what all these 4 types mean. And he says these 4 are one's own reference. I mean, it all depends with either the listener's point of view. But it is important, he talks about the 5th one, which is called empathetic listening. And it's called listening from the other person's frame of reference. So again, this is what very important. And listening, and he says listening with intent to understand, and he says empathetic listening is the highest form of listening. And it's not very important that we need to concentrate on the 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's very important that we need to concentrate more on empathetic listening. If this is done, a lot of changes could be seen. And the 4th important skill, effective speaking skill. As Dr. Albert was in his speech was talking about communicative skills. And what does it mean? Skills that help students become good speakers and a great language communicator. I'm sure you must be aware of this particular or famous book by Dale Carnegie, Public Speaking for Success. In the beginning, he talks of 2 things that people are afraid of. And it is true that people throughout the world are afraid of 2 things. And he says one is death and the other is public speaking. And I don't have to talk much about the communicative skills. And we have been talking a lot about communication and the importance of why and how it could be done for the learners. And I recently came out this book. I mean, many of you might have already known, but I came to know only a week ago, a book by NCRT called Employability Skills. And I think employability skills, this textbook have been implemented for CBSE from 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grades, I believe. And when I went through this particular book, even grade 9 students or 10 students, I mean, almost all grade books on employability skills have 5 units. And the first unit, when I looked into this book, is on communication skills. And the 5 units, even at grade 9, they have been, students are taught these 5 units, and I believe, so I'm not familiar with CBSE syllabus and other things, but when I went through this book, and then I was really shocked to see that the 5 important skills that he talks about is communication skills, self-management skills, ICT skills, entrepreneurship skills, and green skills. So again, and the first chapter is about, I mean, you could see the textbooks for grade 9, 10, 11, 12. The first unit or the first chapter is on communication skills. And it has given a number of ideas, a number of chapters, number of assignments, number of activities for the students to equip themselves on communicative or communication skills. I think this is very important. And I would, many of you are aware of Toastmasters. And Toastmasters, again, is a platform where they develop or they concentrate more on public speaking. So again, public speaking has to be incorporated somehow, one way or the other. Somehow we need to concentrate more on this particular skill too. Effective reading skill. As I was telling you earlier, so we have got LSRW, so it comes under reading skill. But literally speaking, I'm not going to deal with how this could be done. But what does it mean? The skills that help students engaging with text, forming links, understanding opinions and research, so you can apply what you learn. And I'm going to give you a short exercise. So I need your answers in the chat box. So this is one sentence. The grimy, growlers, grankle in the granchy cat. I want you to answer the following questions in the chat box. So here we go. I mean, everyone is ready, I believe. So this is one sentence, and I will be asking you 4 questions. So let's see who gets the answers correct. This is the first one. What kind of growlers were they? Can I have your answers in the chat box? Oh, can I have your answers? What do you think is the answer? Oh, let me go for the second one. What did the growlers do? Okay, okay, grangled. Third one. Where did they do it? Okay, so I'm getting a lot of, answers. Okay, in the Grant's back, okay, Dr. Albert says. And Armulam says Grant, okay, Granchi, okay, Granchi back, okay. Now, this is my 4th question. In what kind of gag did they grangle? Oh, France gag, okay. 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 Yeah, Granchi, Granchi. Great. So thank you so much for your answers. But when you look at the sentence that is given, the grimy growlers grangled in the grangey gag. Actually, the words like grimy, growlers, grangle, grangey gag are not English words. But we have been trained or we have been accustomed when we look at this is the type of comprehensive questions that we give to our learners. So these are not English words, but we could grasp the idea by looking at the sentence and then go for the answers. But these are not the English words. This is how we do. But reading has to be something different. So here, uh, as a annual status of education report, no, ASER comes out with a report every year. And it's alarming that it tests 3 important skills, English and the regional language and maths. So when a student of grade 5 is given a text to read, he is unable to read even a single sentence. That's what the report says. But even wherever you go, so students are checked the ability of their understanding by reading. And PISA, so as we are aware, so program, comes out, conducts tests every year throughout the world. Even PISA exam, you could see maths, science, and readings are conducted. And tests like IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, where reading is given. So it's not that students have to grasp just from the from the passage, and then write something without understanding. But it's important that we need to make the learners understand and comprehend text so that it becomes easy. So he starts reading a lot then. And recently, I believe everyone must have went through, everyone must have read this article by Dr. Albert, an open letter to educators, how we can help students learn to read the world, which was published in the Hindu dated November 2021. And I like the concluding line from that article. So we have a moral responsibility to help our students to learn to read the world. And this is very important. Though this article talked about media literacy, but it is also important that our students should read the world. Helping them to read the world is easy, but empowering them to read the world is challenging. So giving any text for the learners to read, and if they could read, is really important. And creativity. So I don't think I'll have to deal much about creativity because this is one of the four important C's. And then what does creativity mean? The ability to use the imagination to generate ideas. And it was Picasso once said, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. And the best example that I can give you is a TED talk by Sir Ken Robinson. I mean, I'm sure everyone must have, and this is the most watched TED talk ever. Do school skill creativity. So unfortunately, Sir Ken Robinson died on 21 August 2020, and he talked a lot on creativity. Why creativity for the learners are important. And I would recommend, or I believe that everyone should watch this particular TED talk. So creativity is there for a quite long time, and people and a lot of webinars, seminars, and articles, researches have been done on creativity. But how effectively we are doing, or we are making our learners to be more creative. I would love you to watch this short video and then tell me what you understand from this short video. And I believe this audio is okay, but if the audio is not okay, please let me know.
It's not audible, sir.
Oh, is it not audible?
Yes, sir, it is not audible, sir.
So let me play it again, so otherwise no problem. So I'll tell you what exactly happens in the video, but let me play it once again and then see. Or is there any other possibility by which the volume could be increased?
No, sir, it usually happens in Google Meet. The audio is not audible from your...
Okay.
If you can play the actual video, sir, from the VLC media file or...
Yeah, so but how that can be, how that could be done?
You have to stop sharing and share your entire screen or that particular file after you open the VLC media tab. And then when you share there is a possibility.
Oh, let me try. Yes, let me try. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will try. Yes. for sharing the entire screen or a window?
Sir, it's up to you, sir. You can share your window or
Okay.
entire screen. No problem.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just play once again, then see if in the audio is okay.
So it's still not audible, sir.
Oh, it's not audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so something. Okay, no problem. Just watch. Let me tell you what exactly happens in the video.
Okay,
No
sir.
problem.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
So let me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what exactly happens is this: a girl has applied for a job, and she is being interviewed. So the interviewer asks her, and she has mentioned that she is good at technology. And the interviewer asks her in what area that she is good at in technology. And she says that she's good at Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and other things. And the interviewer says that you have forgotten Facebook. Oh yeah, Facebook is for the older people like my parents. So I'm not good at. I don't want to know about the Facebook. And then again, the interviewer asks her, for example, if I ask you to do or get up at 8 o'clock tomorrow to do a work for me, would you be doing it? And then she says, yes, everything can be possible. I will ask Siri to do everything. And then he's shocked. How come that? What is Siri? And then he says that ask Siri to uh, uh, make you ready at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you meet me tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the office, he says. And for which she says that who gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning? So I usually wake up at 10:45. So I will come to your office at 10:45 or 11 o'clock. For which the interviewer was shocked. And again, this little girl asks that she has got a problem and then wants to talk to the HR manager from the same company. And the interviewer says that you have not been appointed. How can you talk to my HR? No, no, I've got some mental health problems, so I need a day off today. And then at the end, he says, you are fired. And you're going to fire me? And then the girl leaves. So here, so this is the thing that you could see on the screen. And I wanted to show this particular video to see that the present people need to be more aware of this particular skill. Interview skills, yes. So my idea on showing that particular video was on interview. And this is again, the interview skills are nothing but the academic and para-linguistic skills to impress interviewers and get your dream job. And I believe these are the 7 common questions that are being asked in the interviews. But how effective are we in answering these basic questions like, tell me or tell us about yourself, why should we hire you, what are your career goals, what is your salary expectation, why did you leave your past job, why would you like to work here, what are your greatest strengths and weaknesses. So again, this is a major area. So here these days, it's not the marks or the percentage that you hold. It is again how effectively you are good at in the interviews. Okay, so I'm going to show this again, a short video, but you don't have to worry about the audio here. You could just watch because it's only a free 3 to 4 seconds, and then tell me what you observe from this video. Okay, now tell me, so what do you think the skill being used in this short video? What do you think? Any guesses? I mean, we must have watched this video a number of times. Any answers? Okay, take permission to do anything. Okay. Speaking and listening. What do you think the guy did the second time? Okay, no problem. So here, and my purpose on showing that short video was on critical thinking. What is critical thinking? So this comes under one of the 4 C's, and it is always believed that children must be taught to think, not what to think. And I remember when I was attending one of the webinars last year, one of the speakers was telling us, Rabi, one of the Nobel laureates from Israel, won Nobel Prize in the year 1975, it seems. So people went and asked him, what made you win the Nobel Prize in physics? And it was he who said, I could win the Nobel Prize because of my mother. And the people were curious and then asked him again, was it your mother that made you win a Nobel Prize? And he said, yes. When I was a child, he said, when I returned from the school, my mother would ask me, the first question that she would ask me when I returned home from school is, what was your question that you asked to the teacher today? So every day she would ask me the question that I asked the teacher in the school. So again, you could see it was her mother encouraged him to ask as many questions as possible to the class, to his teacher, and therefore that made him win the Nobel Prize, he said. And these are some of the critical thinking examples. Even though we follow these examples in our textbooks, like predicting skills, ranking things, putting words in order, games and puzzles, matching activities, and identify opinions and all. But it's also very important that, I mean, you could see a Global Digital Citizen Foundation, where it says the mark of your success as a teacher is to teach so that they don't need you anymore. And the students leave your class ready to tackle anything that challenges them. And that's what the critical thinking mindset is all about. Skills for the schools, skills for life, skills for success. And this is another important skill. And I don't have to talk much about critical thinking. We are aware. And the 6 important critical questions like who, what, where, when, why, how. The next one, leadership skills. The ability to inspire and guide people to do something. Could you put in the chat box who are these people that you could see on the screen? I mean, on the picture. And again, can you guess? Okay, Greta and Malala. Yes, Dr. Albert says. Okay, Malala. Yes, in the first picture you could see Malala and Greta Thunberg, climate activists. Yes, Dr. Albert got it correct. The second and third pictures, Lizzie Priya Kangujan. Yes, an 8-year-old girl. She's called as Greta Thunberg of India. And when I went through about Lizzie, and you could see she became one of the top 100 amazing children in the world in 2020. And she has even give her talk on COP25. And there was a climate conference at Glasgow this year. A girl, Uma Shankar from Tamil Nadu also participated, and then she was specially invited by the Prince William. And then she also gave a lecture. And these are some of the young leaders that we could see. But are these leaders enough? But we have been having curriculum, we have been telling, we talk about only Gandhiji and some of the leaders that for a long time. But it is also important that we need to have a lot of young leaders. And it is our responsibility to identify, to find out, and then think that we need real leaders like this. So leadership is one of the other important skills that I wanted to mention. And recently, you must have seen on the newspaper, and a girl from Tamil Nadu won a scholarship worth 3 crore, and her name was Sweka Swaminathan from Tamil Nadu. And after reading that article, and I went and surfed the net and found out that she was supported by, you could see there, Dexterity Global Group. So the Dexterity Global Group has been working relentlessly for the rural children throughout India. And they identify people like Sweka, and then try to win scholarships, and then also try to make them as leaders. And when I went through their website, I found this vision on their website. And it is said, if India has to grow, a generation of young Indians will have to bridge the gap between classroom education and global leadership. That caught my attention. I thought, really, this is one of the NGOs or platforms that they have been working for the children from India, and then trying to make the children achieve their goals in their lives. And the last important thing is the law of attraction. This skill is nothing but the ability to use the power of mind and thoughts to achieve dreams. Can you guess who is this particular officer in uniform? Can you put your answer in the chat box if you have heard or read about this? Any idea? Oh, a transgender? No. Hemant Soosai is a transgender? No, she's not a transgender. Okay. Her name is Annie Siva from Kerala. I mean, when she was 18 years of age, she was abandoned by her husband with a son. You know, she was just living in her grandmother's backyard by selling lemonade and ice creams. And then slowly she started believing in her dreams and then did her graduation in sociology, I believe, and then appeared for the exams, and then now she's the sub-inspector from Kerala.
Wow.
So here again, I'm going to give you two more examples. So these people had a vision in their life. They had a dream that they wanted to become great in life. So we have been giving a lot of examples for our children, and then we have been asking them what they want to become in their lives when they become, after graduation and all. So students have been telling that they're interested in becoming a doctor, engineer, and all. How many students really become and then achieve their dreams? Again, so she is one of the examples. So though she was abandoned and was selling lemonade and ice cream, and she is now a sub-inspector from Kerala. So she had the power and then became and achieved what she wanted to achieve. And could you guess this particular girl? Oh, Annie Siva. So I will also, you could search the Google and then find out Annie Siva, her name is. And the second picture, just now I showed you, could you just tell me the name of the girl? And she's from West Bengal. Any guess? Okay, so her name is Stepna Burman from West Bengal. She won a gold medal for the Asian Games that was held in Jakarta in 2018. So what is the peculiarity that you could see on her toes? As you could see her toes, she has 6 toes on each foot. But she's a tribal girl from West Bengal. Her father is a rickshaw puller and now bedridden because of stroke. Her mother is a maid. So she had a dream. And when she wanted to participate in the games, and she even didn't have a proper pair of shoes, because since she had 6 toes on each foot, so she couldn't even buy proper shoes when she attended the Asian Olympic Games in Jakarta. But it's called heptathlon. So heptathlon is an event where this girl participated in 7 events and then won the gold medal for India in the Asian Games, which was held in 2018. So she had a dream, and she made use of the ability of the dream and then became great. And now we could see she's one of the stars in India. Now I'm going to give you one more example. Any guess who is this that you could see on the screen now? Again, his name is Sugas Yatiraj. He is an IAS officer from Karnataka, but he is now an IAS officer in UP, Gautam Buddha Nagar. He is there working at the moment. How come? We have never heard people that, or we always hear that academics and sports would never go hand in hand. This is an example where he also excelled both in academics as well as in sports. So he won a silver medal in the recently concluded Paralympics in Tokyo. His name is Suhas Yatiraj. And once you go for reading his biography and how did he become great and how he is passionate both in academics as well as on sports is something alarming. So I've just given you 3 examples to show that the law of attraction is very important. So somehow, and as far as English language teaching is concerned, every textbook has got a supplementary reader. And supplementary reader, you could see that supplementary readers will definitely always have lessons on great personalities or on great celebrities. So we never touch the supplementary readers in the textbook, in the classrooms. we just teach them for five true or false questions or five Gojin thought or something. So, but supplementary readers are given for the learners to get inspired by reading or knowing about the great personalities that they could see in the supplementary reader. So, these are some of the things that I could see. Again, it is because of one said, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. So that is a great challenge now. And we are living in a VUCA world. So VUCA world is nothing but volatility, uncertainty, and complexity. And yesterday I was reading again, even the Apple 14 phone, which will be released next year, will have no SIM card, it seems. So technology is, taking us so unimaginable. But again, so these are the skills that we need to be more aware of, and complexity and ambiguity. So when we are aware of all these things that happens in and around the world, and if we could incorporate some of these skills in the classrooms, and I think our students are the luckiest ones. And let me finish by education is a social process. Education is growth. Education is not a preparation for life. Education is life itself by John Dewey. So I think let me end with this and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful, useful, engaging session. I'm pretty sure that the participants might have been got immensely benefited from this particular session. Uh, Now, I request Albert sir to have his reaction to this session.
Okay, I'm just going to speak for 2 minutes, not more than two
Yes, sir,
minutes.
yes.
And Professor Vincent also could be given a chance.
Sure,
I
sir.
think he's still there. He has talked about various skills, starting from anxiety management, learning styles, and then creativity, critical thinking, leadership skills, many skills. The question that I have now is the English language teacher going to teach these skills, or some other teacher, maths teacher, social science? That question arises now. Who is going to teach these skills to our students? And please, no, Susai can answer the question later, or someone else can also do that. Because here everything is compartmentalized. English language teacher should teach only grammar, poetry, and prose, and maths teacher should teach only maths and shouldn't talk about leadership skills. This is how our teachers have been trained, and that's why I said like the paradigm shift is very much required. Some years ago, like even 2 days ago, I discussed this particular point with Dr. Ilango, and we are just writing a paper on this. In the engineering colleges, function and knows, we have English departments, and English departments, they are not given so much importance. It's only supportive departments it's called. And we have a new idea, like in each department, for example, mechanical engineering or computer science engineering, there should be an English teacher, not a separate department for English, and they have to do it differently, like ESP, English for specific purposes, and we want to do it in a different way. Similarly, and when you talk, when the resource person Susie talks about the 10 skills, no, these are all very important. Anxiety management, learning style. Somehow we never notice the learning style. It doesn't matter whether someone is a visual learner or verbal learner, we have never tried to find out. We have never tried to find out. It doesn't matter. Somehow, since he is in the field, he's able to say that his daughter is a solitary learner. Some learners are quite independent. They don't want to learn in a group. So, are we going to cater to the needs of such students? How are we going to do that? So the question that now arises, like, how are we going to teach these skills? First of all, do we think that these skills are important? And should the role of English language teacher change? And who is going to build the cat? Like, only when we try to find answers to these questions, our discussion will be very effective. Otherwise, webinar will just stop. Like, someone said something, and if we don't discuss it further and take it to the next level, all will be ineffective. If Professor Vincent is here, he could also be asked to give his views. Is
Thank
he
you, sir.
there? Professor Vincent is.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful reaction. Now, I request Vincent, sir, to voice his reaction. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, I must congratulate my good friend Soosai on his excellent presentation. This is the first time that I listen to very carefully, at all the 5 stages I went through listening. Very, very interesting and also very useful lecture. And as for Dr. Albert's question, whether this is the job of the English teacher or is it the job of all the teachers, I would say that let us confine ourselves to English. Because nowadays, I think that some universities in Tamil Nadu have introduced these soft skills as part of their curriculum. And the question is, who should teach it? And it is relegated to language teachers. And the language teachers do it as a kind of a ritual. So it becomes useless. But what I feel is that I have been experimenting also with this. The communication skills that we talk about, especially the oral communication, can have a part of it for interpersonal relationship skills. We can teach interpersonal relationship skills and also the communication skills together. Why should we separate it? As for critical thinking, as for logical reasoning, what's the purpose of the quiz Mrs. Soosai gave in the beginning? What did it do actually? Or I don't mean the purpose. What did our mind do about it? We critically examine the questions and then we answer. In other words, in all subjects, including English, such kind of quizzes or what you call riddles and such devices could be used to enhance the critical thinking of the learners. So that should be the purpose. In all activities that you give, it should be activity-based. All activities that you give, there must be a purpose of stimulating critical thinking, logical reasoning, and also interpersonal skills. All go together. Why should we compartmentalize it? Let us not do it. So this compartmentalization of learning has to be completely dropped. And secondly, as for the purpose of this lecture, I could see, I think Mrs. Soosai indirectly insists that we should not teach. We should make the learners learn. In other words, teach our students to learn. Don't teach anything. Not teach something. And even that I have to modify. Let the learners learn to learn. Seems like a paradox. No. Learn to learn and also learn to be. Learn to be. That should be the purpose. And somebody raised the question in the chat box about Gardner, about the 10 skills that he mentioned can be related to the 10, not exactly 10, 8 or 9 intelligences that Howard Gardner mentions. They are all related. So the intelligences are turned into skills. So all must be integrated. And I just now translated the book by Howard Gardner on Lens of Mind. Not exactly translated. adapted to the Indian Tamil context. I hope it will be released soon. Such a textbooks must be prescribed for our BEd students, at least for our teachers. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I didn't mean to talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your critical feedback on today's session. And now I request Subhranshu Das to coordinate question and answer session. Over to you,
Sure, sir.
Subhranshu.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And if the participants have any question, they might turn on their audio and video and ask to Soosai sir, or else drop in the chat box. We don't have any questions as of now.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're
Please
audible.
open your video, Tarani. Open your video and ask your question.
Camera is not working, but I am not.
You're not clearly audible. You're having some issues with the audio?
Subhran, is it clear now?
No, it's not
No,
clear.
you're not audible.
You're not audible. You're having some issues with your audio.
Next participant.
Again, I have.
Can you please try logging in once again so that it might stop? Yeah. Please try to do that.
Is it audible? Hello?
Yeah, now it's
Yeah,
audible.
that's clear now.
Yeah.
Sir, I am a teacher. I am teaching in DAV. Sir, in my class, generally, it's a heterogeneous class where many students, they had come from rural villages. There are certain students who are good at speaking also, who are good at English. And there are certain students even, they are not able to read the book. So it's a big challenge for a teacher that within these 40 minutes, how can a teacher manage to teach the poor students and also the good students who are capable of receiving what the teachers intend to teach? Sir, may I, if you will suggest something so that I can execute in my class? Your suggestions.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I think either Dr. Albert or Dr. Vincent could respond, I believe.
Okay. The point is this, sir. Now, in every classroom, at least there will be, if the classroom has a strength of 40, there will be 40 different levels of learning of your student, of the learners. There will be very bright students and the very poor students. Now, the problem is with the textbook. If your textbook is prescribed and if you are going to follow it, you can't do anything. So what you have to do is find out the level of the lowest level of the students and accordingly prepare materials for them. Or get materials for them suitable for that level. If their level is X, then your material must be of the X plus 1 level. And try with that. You must struggle for at least 1 year with this. You need not worry about the time schedule, 45 minutes. Go out of it if you are really interested in students. Take them during your leisure hours. Teach them how to read silently from the beginning, where they are, and slowly bring them up to at least the average middle level, not necessarily the great level. And so prepare passages suitable for your students. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Any
sir.
further question from any participant, Subhranshu?
Yeah, not in the chat box, sir. Any participant who wants to ask, please, you can go ahead.
Nimai Voi,
Sir, may I?
do you have any question, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone present over here. Good evening, Surai sir. Sir, I have a question. I don't have idea about soft skill and hard skill. Could you explain more about soft skill and hard skill?
Yeah. soft skills and hard skills. I mean, dealing other than the textbook, what is prescribed, like as we were dealing with some of the skills, like communicative skills, like interview skills, and I mean, so what is socially acceptable for the learners can be taught, I believe. Yes.
Sir, is the opposite of soft skill is hard skill or anything else?
So I didn't. What is it? What? I didn't
answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's not like our software and hardware. Soft skills are the areas that have been identified as necessary for our life. That is all. Even making use of your screwdriver can be taken as a soft skill. Whatever that is required for life is called soft skill. That's all. So don't worry about the naming. I think the naming is not very accurate. So forget it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any other participant? Please raise your hand. Okay. No question, Subransu?
No, sir, no questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Oh, yes, sir.
Sir, can you make me know a little difference and doubt regarding the word empathy, sympathy, and another one is apathy, sir?
So sympathy, empathy, and
Apathy.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Yeah. Dr. Vincent, sir.